Hi everyone, my name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to 3 Buck Comics, which is a side channel for 3 Buck Theater, where I'm going to be taking a look at and reviewing comic books because you know what? I don't read enough of them, and I feel at this point I'm missing out by not spending my evenings and diving in. And of course, me being a huge Star Wars fan that I am, I thought it'd be fun to dive into the first couple issues of this new series, the Star Wars from Marvel #1, written by Charles Soule, who is a big Star Wars writer, and he's got a book, the what is it, the Light of the Republic, or whatever it is that's coming out here in a few months. But this particular issue, so it's the in between of what happens between Empire and Return of the Jedi, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty hooked on it so far. So let's dive in to what this particular story is about. So as soon as this panel popped up, I thought to myself, the fanfare popped into my head. I was really excited to read it. And this is where I found out that the Destiny Path Part 1 was where we were going to begin the story, saying here that the Rebel Alliance has been scattered following the defeat at Hoth to evade the Empire. Han Solo, Princess Leia Organa, Chewbacca, and C-3PO fled in the Millennium Falcon in hopes of finding refuge in Han's old friend Lando Calrissian. Of course, it takes us basically through the events of Empire Strikes Back, and it goes on here to say, as Luke now reels from his defeat at the hands of Darth Vader. And this is pretty cool because it shows us Luke's perspective immediately following the events of losing his hand and discovering that Vader is his father, it falling down into the pit there in Cloud City, whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's called. And him just reliving this moment over and over and over again. Here we see Luke sitting on the Millennium Falcon, thinking about everything. His hand is being healed, or at least being somewhat protected, as R2 looks on, but Luke looks defeated. He looks sad. And I mean, think about it. You find out that your father is the man who supposedly murdered your father. It's just a lot to process for young Master Luke, and we finally get a little bit of insight into his psychology. From here, this part cracked me up quite a bit because it is Lando fighting with Chewie and with Leia about everything that just happened, and him trying to say, listen, I'm on your side, baby. I'm right on your side, but like, we got to get the hell out of here. And Leia won't let him off the hook here. She says, oh, you made your choice, Lando, and we all saw you do it. But he comes back with a great response. He says, so did you, princess. We missed our chance to get Boba Fett because you decided to go back to Cloud City for him. What makes him so important to everyone? And I love this part here. His name is Luke Skywalker, Lando, and he destroyed the Death Star. I like that Leia comes to his defense, right? Because Lando can't really do much about it. Lando then goes, oh, okay, this is why Vader wanted him so badly, right? And you can see the look in his face, like like it's all kind of coming together. And then immediately this next panel here, I laughed my ass off at this. It says, look, we all lost a lot today. You lost a friend. I lost an entire city. Lots of people I care about back on Bespin, you know. And then 3PO's like, I lost my arms and legs. I was blown apart. Everyone's kind of playing the victim game here. Who's got it worse, right? The oppression Olympics, so to speak. And it worked out well. It's a good scene. I could imagine Billy D and Carrie Fisher and Anthony Daniels all interacting with each other. Really, really, really liked it. And this is something we never got in Empire. The scene where Leia explains to Luke what happened, right? Saying here that Vader used Han to test the carbonate chamber that he wanted to use on Luke. He's alive, but he's frozen and he's suspended, and that Vader gave him to a bounty hunter named Boba Fett. She then asks him, like, what happened to you? And he says, I reached out to the Force, to Ben, and nothing happened. And he feels defeated here. Luke just feels defeated. You know, Ben didn't answer me. And I get that. Like, they never again really explored that. Ben was with him when he took on the Death Star, when he did the trench run, right? Like, Ben helped guide him. But here, moment when he needed him, Ben was nowhere to be found. But still, that kind of makes a little bit of sense, considering the fact that Luke needed to experience this on his own, I think. This is how I kind of viewed it. From there, they decide to go off and try to save everybody else. So Leia then commandeers the Millennium Falcon for the Rebel fleet and basically takes it over. Even though Lando here, you could kind of tell, is like, look, maybe I have an opportunity to get my ship back. He can't really put up with Leia, and Chewie wouldn't let him have it anyway. The thing is, Chewie never really seems to get to be the owner of the ship, even though he fully deserves to be the owner of the ship. Which is unfortunate at this point in time. But they go from there, and they decide to try to find the fleet and help everybody out. From there, it cuts over to the mid-rim, the rendezvous point for Delta 3, where we can see here that there is a massive massive battle happening between the Empire and the Rebellion, and the Rebellion is just outright getting squashed. They are just getting screwed left and right, nothing they can do, and it's, everyone's getting messed up and they don't quite know what's going to happen. But we finally meet the villain of the comic book. This takes place on the Imperial Star Destroyer Tarkin's Will, where we could kind of already guess where that comes from, right? So Grand Moff Tarkin, he dead, and so they named a new Star Destroyer after him, and they are using this as a way to fight back against the rebels. And this is where it gets a little bit crazy, and I can't really help but ask myself if this woman is somewhat force sensitive, because here they've got an X-Wing that was able to break through, and he is currently on his way to escape, right? This X-Wing will be momentarily out of range, probably calculating its jump as we speak, and then she says, "Give me manual control." And the guy there is like, the corporal's like, "Are you crazy? Are you insane? What the hell's going on? Like, don't do this at all." And she says, "Look, manual targeting established. One gun from Battery 11. She's like, "Oh, you think you're free, little rebel? Off to warn your friends you think you're safe." And then just click, and then skaboom, took this guy out. One shot. Now, we know from like The Last Jedi and other things that there's a lot more force-sensitive people out there, and to take manual control of one gun on an Imperial Star Destroyer and manually target an X-Wing as it's trying to get to light speed and then taking it out in one shot, those are some pretty incalculable odds, I think, and she was able to do it. So clearly, she is a formidable villain, and one that our heroes are going to be tangling with many times throughout the course of the series. From here, we jump back over to the Rebels, where we finally get to meet this man here on the right, and that is Poe Dameron's father. We don't have his name yet, but we just know that he is Dameron. It says right down here in the next panel, "Say, what's going on with Dameron over there?" And then Dameron's like, "You see that A-Wing out there, Green 3? That's Shara Bay, also known as my wife and my son's mother." And so we get to meet both of Poe's parents kind of right off the bat just in this battle, which is fascinating because it does further tie in the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, which is going to annoy some people, but I was totally okay with it. From there, we get this quick shot of a Green Squadron. This is Shara, and she's trying to pilot. And then we see here, she's like, "I'll take point. Just use our speed. We're faster than anything they've got. Wait, I'm reading another ship dropping out of light speed just outside the Imperial blockade. Oh my God, what could it be? It's the Millennium Falcon." Right, it's a Millennium Falcon, and all of a sudden it pops up, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Falcon's here!" Because at this point in time, after the battle at Yavin, the Millennium Falcon's got to have some kind of swagger behind it. It's got to have some kind of love from the people. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then Zara here is like, "No, the Millennium Falcon." She really hates it. From there, they're trying to figure out how to get everyone out of the situation. They're trying to bust a hole in the blockade. And so Lando's going to help pilot. Leia's going to grab a gun. And even Luke gets on one of the cannons and tries to help out to the best of his ability. Says, "You okay down there, Luke?" "I'm fine, Leia. Just not that easy to do with this only one hand." Piloting that and trying to target's going to be definitely a pain in the ass. But Luke here, he's still having those flashbacks, thinking about his hand, losing his hand, and then thinking of Ben and what he said. Darth Vader betrayed and murdered your father, and then Vader saying, "I am your father." So of course, they're trying to figure it all out, and they're trying to make it all work. And then the weirdest thing happens. Luke just closes his eyes and opens himself up to the Force, and he just basically takes out all of these ties. He just disables all of these ties. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of went, "What? Come on, like what? Really? You guys did this? You guys gave Luke this massive power surge." But the way the Force kind of operates is that everyone has access to like the same amount of Force. Some people, the door just opens a little bit slower or a little bit faster than others, and that could be this particular situation. Luke just tapped into it very quickly, and in this moment of panic, it just burst out of him, right? Because he's not a Jedi yet. He's not a Jedi Master. He's not a Jedi Knight. He is definitely just still trying to learn everything, and this could be one of those moments where he straight lost control, but it gives them enough of an angle to get through everything and to fire off a couple shots at the Star Destroyer and just take out their target, allowing everyone to escape. The heroes save the day, and everyone can get away. From there, Zara contacts Vader to let him know about her failure. She tries to spin it as like a partial victory, like we took out half of them, but we didn't take out like a lot of the other ones. But we're fine, we're good. And then Vader's basically just like, you keep failing, and we keep putting faith in you, and I'm not going to put up with this anymore, so you got to stop it. But she did talk about here the Millennium Falcon, and he says, no, that vessel is off limits. I am aware of your hatred for Organa. She is irrelevant to me. You may kill her if you can, but another individual who often flies aboard that ship, if he were to die, the consequences would be significant, right? And I mean, that obviously is referring to Luke, but he doesn't know that Leia is his daughter. And that is kind of a weird thing given, A New Hope and like him being right there with Leia. But if he didn't know what he was looking for, and she didn't know that she was force sensitive, and she had never had any inkling to feel she was force sensitive, that door may have just been shut. And if that door is shut and it's in no way open, Vader maybe wouldn't be able to sense it. But then again, he thought his children were dead, so he would not be looking for it anyway. But still, he basically throws out a massive threat on Zara here, and and you could tell this is only going to push her further into trying to take them all out. From here, the gang all returns to what appears to be the frigate that they were on at the end of Empire Strikes Back when Luke is getting his hand worked on, and they kind of realize at this point that they've been tracked. They've been somehow compromised, and they start to figure out that it's possible that the Empire has been able to decipher their codes, and so if they warn any of the other rebel cells, it will then pinpoint their location and the rebel cell location, and the Empire will then be able to show up and just take them out. Very similar to the technology used, I would argue, in The Last Jedi, with being able to track them through hyperspace. It just kind of feels like this is like an Enigma machine situation versus anything else. And from here, we get one last shot of Luke. He is still trying to process what happens. He is reaching out to Master Yoda saying, please, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I can still feel the Force, still use it, but I lost my lightsaber. I lost a lot of things. Please, Master, I need your guidance. And just like Ben Kenobi, nothing, silence, and it just drives him wild. So at this point, he just gives into anger and emotion and says, why won't you answer me? And it cracks part of the protective glass between the nothingness of space and the frigate. So obviously he realizes at this point, he's like, darn it. I went a little bit too far on this one, my bad. Maybe I shouldn't do it, but he's starting to realize he's got to control his anger. He's got to control. But here he makes a really good point saying, I know Jedi aren't supposed to feel this way. Master Yoda told me these emotions are the path of the dark side, but I'm not a Jedi yet. Yoda made that very clear. I'm still allowed to feel whatever I want. I feel confused. I'm angry, and I'm afraid. And that, again, is something we never really got out of Luke in the movie, was like those kind of emotions. And so here they're exploring them. And he just wants to understand what's going on, and he needs help and he needs guidance, and he's feeling like he's getting left out in the cold again. And that is also what drove Anakin towards the dark side. Now, we know the outcome of this, so obviously it doesn't happen, but you can start to see the parallel between father and son and how the Jedi Order maybe wasn't the best thing ever. Maybe they had a lot of problems, and I kind of feel like Yoda was a big part of that at this point. I'm just saying, I love the guy, but he also was definitely blind to what happened until it was too late to stop him. And since then, it's been like 18, 19 years. So he's been, he's still thinking of that old Jedi way, which may not be that good. And the final frame of the comic has Luke asking the question, what am I supposed to be? Which is something that Luke never really asked himself in the movies, but here it's going to be very interesting. He's looking out into the space through the cracked glass, which surprisingly didn't lower like a shield of some kind, so it's pretty thick stuff. But it is introspective, and I like that quite a bit. Well, that is my review of the first issue of the new Star Wars comic. Be sure to look out for issues 2 and 3, and we'll be going through the process. If you liked this video, if you like 3-Buck Comics, if you like this idea, let me know down in the comment section below. I will talk to you guys all later. Have yourself a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing. And peace out.